Hey, I'm Corey, and
I'm Isaac, and
and
we're
we're
beyond
beyond
the
the
rainbow.
rainbow. And today, um, as you may see in the title of the video, why the heterosexual black male?
Are the real homosexuals? Are the real gays?
Um,
They're the real gays.
um, well, let's state like a couple little basic points. I think any man that doesn't protect his community, I guess gay probably wouldn't be the best
Yeah, because
term.
we don't
We're
want
just
to
kind of
insult.
using,
Yeah, because
yeah.
here's the thing. Because even when it deals with, we're saying that you're gay in the context of the
How you
etymology
use it.
reason, right? But in the etymology reasons way, we're saying you're gay because you're able to be carefree and lighthearted because you don't have to be responsible for the men, the women, the children in your community. So you get to be carefree and lighthearted
Right.
based off of your sexuality. And then to say that you're straight, well, without curve or bend or one directional, just because you engage in heterosexuality, no, we're giving y'all way too much credit.
Well, and but just
Mm-mm.
even just the way that they describe it whenever they're speaking about something that's obviously negative, it's always gay.
Yeah,
So
it's gay. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
actually that of
Yeah,
what you're of how
exactly.
you described
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
And then for me, it's just like again when we talk about being gay or the reason why you despise it so much is because most of the time of what you see of somebody being gay or anything in the LGBT community expresses most of the time femininity in which you seem to despise without with anything whether that's and humans or not humans you just don't seem to respect feminine energy whether that's dealing with the women in your community which I find that to be very much more gayer than anything. Um, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's just a complete disregard and a disdain for femininity. And it's even to the point where I notice where females also engage in that behavior. I'm like, because you got to think about it.
True.
What does that mean if you see a male that has feminine qualities as a weakness? But how could you? Because at the same time, you have them all the feminine qualities as a woman, but since you've been left from the masculine or from the men lack of masculine energy in your community, how can you say that femininity equivocates the weakness? I don't think people really observe nature and pay attention how the female, the feminine entity, it's not just coddling and nurturing. So, what are you saying about the strength and the value of your own femininity? Because see, we're men, and I think it's kind of a disservice to humanity for us to just say that, oh, you're supposed to just have, of course you're going to have, obviously if you're born whatever sex or gender that you are, you're going to have the physical indications of that, but that doesn't mean that you lack, it's impossible for you not to have the opposite influence of the gender because you couldn't exist without both.
Well, in that aspect too, it's just like just because we have the gender as a male, but the way we feel and identify as being gay, or that just our sexual orientation is that,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't actually stop us from the responsibility of which we have to hold as a man,
Yep.
which would be, the things that you find to be, um, again, that's what makes it more like a mind blow because it's like the things that you despise about us, we're actually capable to do that you're not capable we're able to do what you're not capable to do whether that be again taking care of the children or whether that's taking care of people in the community,
Or hold straight, forward, and directional to your commitment to your relationships.
be straight in
Hold
that manner.
straightforward and directional in how you create laws in society.
Hmm.
That's why it's an overrated. It's just incorrect to use people's bedrooms activity to describe their character or to equivocate them to things that they cannot hold up to the standard. It's a false equivalency. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, like, I think it's really interesting that the men, they call us the gays and homosexuals, but the straight black men are more interested in what other men have to think of them unnecessarily. Because to a certain degree, yes, we're all men and we live in a patriarchal society and the powers that be. But when you go over and beyond outside of what's necessary for you to function, to appease to a certain ideology of what other men think. But you hollering about you got your own OPP, yeah, you know me. I don't believe you because you're more concerned about other men monitor and dictate how you interact publicly with other women. But I thought the relationship was supposed to be authentically between you and that woman, not because she's some type of window fixer in your socially constructed house.
And to talk about unnatural. Yeah. I definitely do agree with that. I mean, but everything ultimately to a heterosexual black male adds up to what he thinks he can do sexually. And for us, I mean, well, I'll speak for me. Even being homosexual, not everything is like my what I do sexually doesn't equivocate to what love is. Like that doesn't mean it's those two things aren't the same. And obviously they're not the same for you either, because you really don't hold any type of respect in any format, whether that be love or sex.
Just because, and one thing I want to say, that just because you engage in that heterosexuality, like for example, just because you're homosexual doesn't mean that you're same gender loving. Obviously, with all of the down low men that we have in our community and that phenomenon, and with all of the married single mothers and single mothers that we have, well, clearly, just because you engage in heterosexuality, you can't stay straightforward into being opposite gender loving. So just because you are heterosexual, you don't show behaviors of being opposite gender loving. And the reason why most heterosexual black men can't is because they didn't have a same gender loving relationship with their fathers, because their fathers weren't there. Their grandfathers weren't there. So you were supposed to learn how it was to have a father to paternal to child relationship. That's a same gender loving relationship. We're not talking about sex.
So that's why I said they can't differentiate between the two, between love and sex. So,
because that's what everything is for them. Well, we consummated the marriage. So you had intercourse. So the relationship wasn't serious or defined because you didn't have the physical act of intimacy. Physical intimacy. There's many forms of intimacy. But yeah.
Yep. Or just everything that they talk about.
Or sexual.
Or ends up to something either sexual, either you're, again, when they talk about us, and it's whether an insult is being thrown, either you're really feminine, or either they start talking about the sexual acts that they think are taking place inside of your bedroom. Whether that be, you take it up the butt, I bet you do, like all those kind of things. Or when we get back from school, this used to happen all the time in high school, you're telling me all about the sexual acts that took place over the weekend. I don't know if you're choosing or you want me to fantasize about what you're doing, and I've heard again, like comparing penis size. That I bring that up because it just shows how really gay y'all are, and y'all don't even really know it. Because for you to sit there and talk again about even your reasonings for white women wanting you, which again, when gay black men date out, we don't have to hate on another black male to go do that.
We're not dragging black gay men if we decide to go outside of our race or phenotype or nationality.
But that being said, you choose to talk down. One of your talking points is when you start to reasoning why you date white women or why they supposedly like you is because of the size of your penis in comparison to theirs. Which again, we go back to your sexual train of thought when it comes down to everything, and you really must be in your mind, which makes you gay, thinking about what his penis looks like or what size it is in comparison to yours, which who does that? You're gay.
Yeah, and you get to as a same gender loving man who engages in homosexuality, bro, I don't walk around thinking what turns me on turns the next same gender loving man. So like, how do you get the privilege of projecting? You talk about trying to push an agenda, but that's why I say for most heterosexuals, regardless if they're heterosexual by choice or in their nature, you have to practice your form of heterosexuality by some form of choice. Now, how much of that is natural? It clearly can't be that natural, because why are you failing at marriage? Why are you failing at families if most of you are naturally heterosexual? Something in the buttermilk ain't quite clear. You hear me?
And I mean, it wasn't just till recently to where they just start like being okay with gay people, you know, or that whole even ideal about that. So it's kind of like, well, what was the issue before then? Like, who was the cause, or what was the problem, or like, I always feel like you saying something being gay is somewhat of a heterosexual black man's defense mechanism for all the problems that are going on.
Yeah, and I'm like,
As
and
if, like,
so what if you say that? And let me just make a disclaimer for all the pro-black people out there. I'm gonna need y'all to stop associating all of your throwbacks, your rejects of the black male worshiping community into the same gender loving and LGBT community. Baby, they will not make it. The things that straight black women would tolerate, and I say this, sisters, the reason why I can speak truly and I love you so much, we are not in competition. I promise you, there are things that you will put up from a man across the board that I will never put up with. There are things that you tolerate. There are ways that he will talk to me because I'm a man. But according to the black community, we're not men and we're not black. Because, and just to go off here for a second, I find it very interesting how when it comes to me being same gender loving, you want to talk about, oh, that's white people shit. But the irony is, most of you black men that say that, you date and marry and procreate and have sex with white women, but it's still not seen then as you bringing in white people into your actual intermediate family.
And then you're only doing it in your eyes, for a social status. I literally watched, I think when I told you about that show, it was like Black Ink Crew, where another black man told another person, because another black man who walked in with his Puerto Rican wife, he was like, you got nice things, I want nice things. Like, he literally said this out of his mouth. So it's like you're, even in that aspect, it's just like, you're trying to live up to a social status based off of having that kind of intercourse. And it's like, again, even if we wanted to, which we really could do it, you're only doing it based off, like, you're not really in love. You're just doing it based off of a hope that you'll get close to some type of power and money. And even we can see that as homosexuals. And but the thing is that if we wanted to, we could play that game.
And you told us that we should, because you told us that we're not black, not in this house, not in my family. You said all these things. So don't be mad if most black same gender loving folk date out. Well, you've weakened, you've decreased the population of men and women. You've decreased the amount of dollars in the black community. You've decreased the intellectual prowess. And all you've done is made it easier for other communities and other people's other political agendas.
They've made intellectual gay
to use us and to us to join our communities, because according to you, that gay shit is not in my house and it's not black people. Well, where do you think else where we would go?
Right. But yeah,
says the person who's with a black American lover I've been with for 3 years and was raised by my father.
It's just the obvious point.
Yeah, it doesn't, I can't use, even I think that's the thing too heterosexual black men get to do. Like me, as a exception to the rule of being raised by a single black father, I don't get to project and ignore all the overwhelming of my friends, black and some white, who don't have their father in their home. I don't get to say, just because that was my reality, gee willikers, Batman, that's gotta be every single chocolate boy's experience. Hell no. But you gay heterosexual men, well, yeah, you get to go around imposing and thinking that if a man doesn't behave in the way that you have been programmed to see fit, you don't include them in the gender. But see, the men of other nations don't do that.
And honestly, like when you really do look into history, most of the strongest armies in the white community were gay.
And what does that say? I don't know if I said this even earlier. Okay, so what? Obviously, white men have always been historically reported to be sexually fluid. So by them being sexually fluid have not stopped them historically now, globally, not just in this country, from going around building and imposing their will on each other. So how are you going to then say that being a homosexual is a weakness? Then what does that say about you? Because homosexuals have run our grandmothers, grandfathers, have run our government,
And
even the ones that are on the down low, even the homosexuals, the same gender loving people, the bisexuals, the down low, white men, they still run this
when you
thing.
want to even get into conspiracies, they run your churches, they run Hollywood, they run how you even want to go. You rappers get into the community. That's how you're getting.
You say what you have to engage in, and you have no smoke. But see, you don't have no smoke. He's the biggest promoter and the most flamboyant of anything homosexual or anything that's LGBTQ agenda related. But you don't have any aggression or smoke for him in any fashion, whether for you political or physical. Because you can't. Because at the end of the day, despite a white cisgender man becoming a white trans woman, that white transgender woman has more power to end you and your whole entire family.
Yep.
Let's keep it real.
Yep. And despite that power that you think you have by going with that white woman, the reality is that if we were to go, we would be closer with that white male to power than you would ever be, because he's a white male. So,
and we don't ideologize.
And nobody's over here trying to even play that. But
we
that's
don't
the game.
worship men.
That's the game that y'all like to play all the time. But see, that's really gay. That's
yes,
gay.
yes, baby. That's really you getting, baby. You got 100 coins, baby. You got your extra man. You got your green mushroom, honey.
But any man that just chooses not listen. I feel like whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, as a man, it's your duty. This is me as a gay male saying that it's your duty as a male to protect your community and the women in it. So
regardless if you cross-dress or whatever.
Exactly. And if I'm a homo, then something about what's wrong with you to where you can't get that through your head. Why is it that the dog can get not to bite down so hard and not chew somebody's arm off when they're playing and to use extreme force when it's necessary, but you just can't get that thought process through your mind. And I just feel like for you to be so easily, like when I go, even when if I were to, a lot of your insults or reason why you choose to date out is because of what black women have done to you, supposedly growing up, or the issues that you've had with black women. But if I wanted to, I would really have more of a vouch to say that about what black men have done to me being homosexual, and I still don't go do and pull the same moves and say the same things. So, and there's really a list of things that black men have done, down to terrorizing my communities. I've never seen black women doing that.
When it comes to being the sexual deviant, there are some black women, but the overwhelming majority of black straight men, and that's about that, right? Y'all would have more, in a culture that dishonors and ashames homosexuals and being ostracized. How do you suppose that we're the top child molesters and pedophiles when y'all are the ones that are having children and the ones that have access to children openly without question? They've been still getting violated because the ones that are committing pedophilia, regardless of the gender of the victim, are masculine appearing straight heterosexual black men. You're not getting us good swinging sissies with the purses and the drag and everything. We not out here doing it. I'm not part of that community. I'm just saying I'm a femme masked man. So I'm not around here. I'm not doing that. And besides, based off of the stigma, you would put that on me. And straight black men and straight men in general that are predators have made sure that you focus that on me, so you don't pay attention as to why your daughter or your boy cringes when he comes around your dating partner. But you'll teach him, see that man that kind of look like a he, she?
He's weird.
He's weird. But that ain't the one that's terrorizing your baby. We're going to talk about that. Get into that later.
That's real. That's
real. Get into that later.
While
the time. You know what I'm
definitely.
saying?
Yeah, we don't really got too much time. I got to get going soon. But yeah, no, that's just a little quick synopsis of where we're going to be going with this channel. I mean, y'all have walked around and spoken so much with your arrogance and who's gay and this
We gotta
feminine
separate ourselves from
and yeah,
y'all
because you've
there's a
unfortunately,
target.
you've unfortunately put a target, and now we look and
Yeah.
are perceived to be just as raggedy and dusty as
Yeah,
you.
we're not trans or gender binary. We both live our lives as men. I'm not saying anything about that group of people, but when people see us, besides me opening up my big ass mouth, no one's gonna know that I'm a black gay man. They're just gonna see a black man. And based off of the image that you have not counteracted, that you have allowed to be promoted for us, because again, it's not us leading the black community, it's you. Well, it's really black women now, and I sure hope they take the fucking wheel, yeah.
Yeah, and just real quick to throw this out too before we go, but like even when it comes to like the gay community as black males, we're easier to build a community within ourselves as gay black men quicker than y'all would ever do. And that's based off the fact, well, because y'all are the ones who shunned us the same way you do everybody else. Because
and if y'all want to say that, oh well, we're gay because we didn't have fathers, which that's not
how would that be an insult? Because that would be still on you.
Reflecting on you.
So yeah, like how would you insult us with that? So we're gay because we don't have fathers, or there was no man there to teach us. Well, where were they?
Yeah.
And what is the classification of what a man is? Obviously, because if a classification of a male is not taking care of your kids, well, we don't create those because we're obviously homosexual. So whose real duty is it, and why is it that there's so many children running around, and that why we have to come in and sometimes be the ones who adopt your children or play step uncle
or auntie, since y'all want to be funny,
right.
And I'll be the baby's auntie, and what I will also be is there.
Oh, right.
I'll also be there, bitch. I'll be there. I'll be the baby's ankle. Or some of them say, so you're going to be the baby's ankle. Yes, sometimes I might need to be the baby's uncle or the auntie. I'm not gender fluid. I'm just saying in the energy that if I need to give my niece, my nephew, if they need a more feminine spirit to get them through, I'm going to give them a more feminine spirit. We're not talking about sex.
Right.
If I need to give them a more masculine energy to help them make it through, I'm going to give them more masculine energy and masculine spirit. What the hell is wrong with y'all?
No, you good. No, you good. Yeah, they can't distinguish between what is natural from unnatural anyways, because like I said, it would be unnatural for me to go fake like some of the niggas who y'all are in relationships with to go be with a woman. No, I'd rather just be real with myself and understand I didn't go choose to go get into a relationship, with a woman and play this role like a lot of Christian males. I know because you're forced by not only by law but by your damnation. You're forced.
Your entire existence
is based off
your entire existence. So
y'all are putting people in a place to where they have to choose, and then hating the world in which you're living in also. So it's kind of like we're actually sitting back from the outside looking in on the heterosexual community, like, damn, they really get it. They doing some fucked up shit, because at least between like, say if I'm in a relationship with another male and he's in a relationship with another male, right?
13 years strong,
right?
With my black American, he's fine too.
They know that if things get serious, that we have to respect each other's energy, because he can throw hands and I can throw hands. A woman knows that too. Y'all have no respect boundaries between each other, and I feel like a lot of times, even this goes for the women, y'all do try to come and throw your negative energy over here, and I'm just kind of like, no, I wouldn't do that, and
but you will.
I would put up with that.
But there are plenty of straight men that will.
Exactly.
And there are plenty of straight men that will, and I would say that there's nothing wrong with you being a woman and having to be in a position to where you have to. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you need to be able to defend yourself from a man, but don't go around projecting aggression physically towards other men, because that. Not every other man is going to have that restraint and training, and I'm not saying that that's what it's supposed to be, but it's obviously clear that most of the men that you do that with aren't going to have that restraint. So if I was a woman, unless I got something to hold him, like that'll hold him in place, fill him with the Holy Ghost. You know what I'm saying?
Basically, we're saying don't translate what he does in his heterosexual male ways over to what we are.
Yeah, that's not us. Yeah, we're not. No. They're not.
So when you get mad, don't be. You get, because half the shit that half the shit that we see y'all do, we can be like, oh, there go that straight shit.
Yep,
Nobody's taking.
Walk the statistics. There go them breeders, child.
They're not taking care of their kids. That straight shit.
Yeah. There go that plantation breeding mentality.
When y'all seem to get angry about something, it's like, oh, y'all on that gay shit. Oh, that's gay.
And they wouldn't even. And the sad part is, I mean, honey, you say that gay men are narcissistic and vain. Okay, we're not that. But what makes you think that we want to deal with a man since we're men that don't even know how to wipe his ass right? Mm-hmm. What makes you think that we want to, if we're men, and despite you calling us sissies, regardless of how we express ourselves, we're still having the life. We're not having to kiss white daddies behind and beg for him. White men respect us more, not because we're homosexual. No, because we're functioning men.
Mm-hmm. And actually, he expects us to uphold a certain type of standard when he finds out that we are gay. They actually know.
Yeah.
They expect us
I expect this job to get done. Yeah. I expect this shit to be done quick. Yes.
You're really gay.
Oh, I'm going to pay you because,
Yeah, I'm good. I want you to be my secretary. I want you to be my assistant because I know everything's going to be in order. It's going to be organized. It's going to be in line. Yeah. That's not a standard they can expect from you. So,
unfortunately. But from black women, absolutely, because they outdo us.
Exactly. On every level.
Black women do the gays. Black women, they outdo us.
But basically,
you got it, ladies.
Definitely. But no, this is not. Again, this is not. I want you to think this is a pandering video
or a bashing
video.
Black male video. No, but there has to be.
Even if you did take it that way, it would actually kind of be fair, based of all the bashing.
Yeah, we have to deal with. Yeah, that's what with the gay niggas, and they over there. Yeah, we the butt of, pun intended, butt of everybody's joke. Ain't that some shit?
The ass of everybody's joke.
Yeah.
So but we'll have more videos coming.
Yes,
right?
we will, and we will do this more often. I am Isaac.
I am Corey.
And what are we doing, baby? We're beyond the rainbow. Okay, shit.